This news about this flight from Bangkok to Germany is absolute insanity. It's absolute craziness what I'm reading. And of course, it's all taking place on a plane. You are now within minutes of planes. And in this video, we're going to look at a very bizarre death that took place on this plane. Now, somebody has to explain this to me because I don't know how this works. But here's the title of the article coming from Daily Mail. Flight from Hell. Husband 63, his life is ended beside his wife when liters of blood shoot out of his nose and mouth all over the interior of the plane in front of screaming passengers flying from Bangkok to Germany. Even reading that headline of that article, even thinking about those words, it sounds like a straight up horror movie that these people witnessed. The article continues to state that horrified air passengers screamed and were left traumatized yesterday when a German husband started coughing up liters of blood in front of his wife before collapsing and expiring mid-flight. Now, anybody that's been subscribed to me for quite some time now knows that I have done plenty of videos on people having outbursts not only on airplanes but airports as well. There is an ongoing theory, or one of the theories anyway, is that somebody is spiking these people's drinks or their food, and it's causing them to have these episodes. It's playing with their mind, causing them to see things or just have a bizarre breakdown. And I'm just wondering if this story gives a little bit more credence to that theory. Did somebody put something in this individual's food or drink hoping he would have some kind of outburst as well? He reacted poorly to it, and he ended up having this very horrific reaction. The 63-year-old traveler who has not been named was said to have boarded the Lufthansa flight from Bangkok to Munich, visibly ill before his condition rapidly deteriorated. So this individual was visibly ill prior to boarding this flight, maybe inside the airport. Maybe he did indeed eat something or drink something inside the airport. The article continues to state that it was absolute horror. Everyone was screaming. Fellow passenger Martin Misfelder, 53, from Zurich, Switzerland, told Swiss outlet Blick the man who was traveling with his Filipino wife had got on with cold sweats and was breathing much too quickly before passengers rushed to help him, offering him chamomile tea and taking his pulse. Maybe upon seeing this, the passengers thought this 63-year-old passenger might have been having a heart attack. But as the plane took off, his health went quickly downhill. The man was said to have been spitting into a bag when a gush of blood came out his mouth and nose, splattering the walls of the Airbus A380 aircraft. Now, here's what I'm thinking, and I'm sure some of you are thinking the same thing. Did any of the other passengers get his blood on them as well? We don't know what this man had to cause him to react this way, but what if he indeed unintentionally spread something around this plane? This kind of brings me back to September of 2023, when a Delta flight, there was diarrhea all the way through the airplane, and it had to do a U-turn. Now, while that story did sound like a funny and embarrassing story, since it was all throughout the airplane, from the back to the front of the plane, you don't know what that person might be spreading around. The passengers were with this feces for about 2 hours. Matter of fact, right after that in January, on another Delta Airlines flight, another passenger had pooped their seat and it splattered all over the seat and into the aisle. This is 20 minutes into the flight, and these passengers are on this flight for a couple hours taking this in, just like the previous Delta Airlines flight. So it's either somebody is trying to intentionally spread something around these planes, around these passengers, or somebody is giving these people something inside their food or their drinks, maybe even inside the airports, and they're having these bad reactions to it, and it's affecting them either mentally or physically. There's a lot of theories surrounding these plane stories, from demonic possession to the jab, to people over drinking at a bar, taking some kind of drug. So I can definitely buy this theory that somebody is going around slipping something into what these people are consuming. Now, yes, this man is indeed 63. It's not outside the realm of possibility somebody in their 60s or their 70s would become sick. But from what I understand, people in their 60s just do not explode blood. It's like that saying, from dusk till dawn. Psychos do not explode when sunlight hits them. I don't care how crazy they are. Same thing applies here. I don't care how old an elderly person is. They just don't explode blood randomly. The man's wife had initially told cabin crew that her husband was feeling unwell because they had been forced to run to catch the plane at Bangkok airport. A flight attendant then reacted and asked him if he was okay. She was very worried, said Martin's 55-year-old nursing specialist wife, Karen, who was sitting with her husband directly behind the couple. So with this information, this story would be very easy to understand. He's 63. I don't know what kind of shape he's in, but he's 63. He's running as fast as he can to catch the plane. He's breaking out in sweats. He's very excited. So it sounds like he did indeed have a heart attack. But again, people who suffer from heart attacks do not gush out liters of blood. Now, I know someone somewhere in the comment section is going to say, Minutes of Horror, you are spreading fake news. I had a friend who gushed out 4 liters of blood when he had his heart attack. No, he didn't. Stop it. Stop it. Now, people, including the crew, noticed that this gentleman was not looking too well. He was not looking right, but he was still given the green light to stay on board. But the 55-year-old nursing specialist, Karen, intervened and told the cabin crew a doctor was urgently needed. The pilot arrived and called for a doctor over a loudspeaker. A 30-year-old Polish medic with poor English, I don't know why that matters, but he has poor English, then arrived, asked how the man was, and took his pulse before indicating that he seemed okay. Martin told Blick that they gave him a little chamomile tea, but he was already spitting blood into the bag that his wife held out to him. The plane took off. Hold up. The plane took off before the man's condition dramatically deteriorated. Hold up. So he was spitting blood into the bag, but they still gave the plane the green light to take off. Make that make sense. So as the plane was taking off, he was increasingly spitting blood into a bag before a gush of blood came out his mouth and nose. It was absolute horror. Everyone was screaming, said Martin, adding that the man lost liters of blood, which covered the cabin walls. Now, upon hearing this, and someone like myself who is a horror movie buff, if anybody remembers that scene in Nightmare on Elm Street 1 with Johnny Depp when he's sucked into the bed and blood is gushing out of the bed all over the walls, this is making me think of that scene. Sounds like just an absolute horror movie to witness. Flight attendants rushed into action after the eruption. Miss Felder said staff kept up amateurish resuscitation attempts for about a half an hour, but it was clear that the man could not be saved. Just absolutely horrific. Yes, I feel bad for passengers having to witness that, but my heart absolutely breaks for his wife having to go through something like that, having to see your partner just erupt in blood. Now get this, the flight turned around returning to Bangkok airport where passengers complained they were left to wait without guidance for 2 hours. So they were on this plane with all this blood for 2 hours. Travelers on board said the wife of the man who had passed away had to walk alone through customs as they were rebooked on another flight via Hong Kong. She stood there all alone and apathetic and had to endure all the formalities. That's very, very sad to hear. That's heartbreaking that she has to endure this all by herself. Now, the passenger states that it was also unacceptable that 30 traumatized passengers were left to wait without direction, and said he hopes for an apology to the group and the wife of the deceased. So like I said, this was a very traumatizing experience. 30 traumatized passengers were left without direction. And so the passengers also claimed they were offered a 10 franc voucher, which is around $9.06 in European currency. It was not clear from local reports what the voucher was intended for. Now, I don't know what the conversion rate is for 10 franc. I know some people are going to say to me, well, you should know this, you should know what you're talking about, but I don't know what that is, and I'm not going to really look it up. It could be $10, $5, $100,000 in US money, but 10 franc really does not sound like a lot for what these passengers went through. Now, we don't know why this man passed away. We don't know why he was gushing blood. More than likely, we will never know why this happened. This is just another very bizarre story involving planes, and I have to say, in regards to plane stories that I have told, this is probably one of the worst, because we're dealing with somebody passing away in a very bizarre manner. But if any more information does come out about this story, I will be indeed the one to follow up. Now, once again, my heart greatly breaks for this wife, and it's very sad that she had to endure this by herself. And I really do hope she does get some legit valid answers herself as to what may have happened to her husband. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.